Hello and welcome to the Kaijus in the Details, a chronological podcast of Kaiju cinema. I'm Ian.
I'm Haru.
I realize I don't really talk about what this podcast is in the intro anymore, so I figured I'd do that as a little reminder. Today we watched The Giant Claw from 1957. Haru, what did you think of this film?
It was a movie about little green aliens and a cowboy and a spaceman. And they went the claw.
Yeah, it was Cowboys versus
no.
Aliens, and then
Okay, no, that wasn't the actual movie. No, this movie, it was.
Do you remember the movie? Because we did watch it yesterday instead of literally seconds ago.
Yeah, I do actually remember the movie well enough. I kind of like it has parts where it's pretty strong and parts where it's kind of weak, but in general it was an enjoyable movie.
I think it's a good little film. I definitely see why it has a cult classic quality to it. It has like the way it looks is the kind of film that a lot of American film critics would laugh at and be like, "Oh, how droll." But it's actually a good movie, and that's how cult classics tend to be. Is like the effects are kind of out there. Like it's not even that they're necessarily bad. It's just they're out there, right? And they don't like they're not necessarily realistic. They're more stylistic. And so that's kind of where The Giant Claw lands. It's a very stylistic movie that is a lot of fun, I think. I wouldn't say it's like one of the best films we've watched, but it's fun.
I would say it at least fits in the top 50% of the movies we watched.
For sure.
Like
it clears most of the American films we've seen.
Yeah. Like don't get me wrong, it still has, sexism and a little bit of racism and just like it does commit a few sins that American movies, especially of this area, love to commit, like over narration. But I think it does it better. I mean, it doesn't do sexism better, but it does the narration.
I think it does
better.
sexism better.
Are you sure? I mean, maybe better than like the last movie we watched, but like
yeah, it's okay, full disclosure, this is our second time recording this episode. Because of my recording program crash. I talked about this on Blue Sky. If you're not following me on Blue Sky, Vampire Ian at vampire.neocities.org. I posted about this there. We're gonna be off next week, or next 2 weeks, I guess, next fortnight, because we don't have time to record a second episode right now. Because I had a fatal computer crash that killed the last recording of this episode. But in that episode, I happened to across this theory that like the first 15 minutes of this movie are like a totally different bad movie, and then it becomes a good movie after that.
The movie kind of stumbles around a little bit in the beginning as it's trying to find its rhythm, and then it finally
for some reason they don't want to just establish right off the bat that the main character McAfee, which is just an insane name in the modern day because of John McAfee of McAfee Antivirus, and the leading lady whose name I don't even remember, they don't want to just establish that they're married. If they just done that, I think the movie would be 10 times better right from the get.
Yeah,
but instead they want to have this like playful banter.
He makes like a weird sexual comment about like wanting to call her mommy or something like that in the very beginning.
Yeah, so
and then
that part, it's like, so there's this big rivalry between the lieutenant general and McAfee, who's like an electrical engineer who's working with the military to set up their radar defenses in the Arctic. Right, another movie where we're dealing with radar defenses in the Arctic. Very strange that this is like two movies in a, well, not in a row, but almost in a row about the radar arrays in the Arctic.
I feel like this is going to be a common thing in the Cold War era.
I guess apparently. I can't even say it's going to be the last time. I think Gamera also has something to do with the Arctic. I mean, it's either Arctic or the Antarctic, and I think it's the Arctic. So we're going to be back in the Arctic again soon. Actually, 20,000. The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms was also in the Arctic. It just didn't have anything to do with this radar array. That's 4 movies about the Arctic. Anyways, so they're figuring out this array, and our lead and the lieutenant general are having fits, but the lady is also having fits because he's a jackass. The main character is a jackass for the first 15 minutes of the movie until he turns into like a charming, affable guy. Who's actually like weirdly emotionally open, in fact, like for this era of film. But in that, she's like, the lieutenant general's like, that guy, he just makes his own rules, and she's like, well, he makes his own rules. That's like a child. And then so he's like, oh, mama, I'm a baby. Put a diaper on and spank me. And like, what? Like, it's very strange.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the 2 big, like, uncomfortable moments in this movie. Well, no, there were 3, but like 2 big sexist uncomfortable moments in this movie. The second one being where he just kisses her unconsensually while she's asleep.
Yeah, they're on an airplane together and she's falling asleep, and he just like no provocation. They barely even flirted together at this point even. And then he just like leans over, kisses her. Oh, and then she immediately stops him, and then they actually flirt after this. So she's apparently into it. She's a little bit of a somnophile.
Yeah, and like her expression while she wakes up and realizes what's happening to her, it's like, it is kind of a very mixed expression. It's a like, wait, what the fuck is going on? I didn't ask for any of this. And then a little bit of like, actually, I'm kind of okay with this. But it's like, here's the thing, because there's no express like consent given by her beforehand, like, it's still not a good thing to do.
No, it really sucks. It really, really sucks. And then it's just gone. Like, they just suddenly become like lovers for the rest of the film, and they really just act like a married couple. I think the best comparison point for this is a old comedy film called Adam's Rib. Shout out to those who have seen it. I know Haru has not. I think it's a good comparison point. It's a fun film. And that's like what the dialogue is kind of like, though. The dialogue in this film, The Giant Claw, is very comedy-like. There's 2 modes, I guess. There's poetic, and there's like this really quick and snappy comedic timing to it. None of the plodding, boring nothing that we've seen in like The Deadly Mantis or any number of other American sci-fi films of this era.
Yeah, no, like it's got very well written dialogue, and just like it's entertaining.
Yeah,
Which not every movie we've seen has been.
Basically, every little bit of dialogue feels light. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It's like it is written in such a way that it is engaging and fun and doesn't bore you to death. Although we do have some bit players who are a little less engaging than our main cast. Let's talk about our main cast first, though. We have Jeff Morrow as Mitch McAfee, our main character. We know him from Chronos. We're reusing some main characters from Chronos. We also have Morris Ankrum from Chronos as well. So we got him. We got some Chronos alumni up in here.
Yeah, this is like the American version of reusing characters from kaiju movies, or not characters, actors.
Yeah. Like there is a, like, much like how there is a stable of Japanese actors that are used by Toho Studios. There is a stable of B-movie actors who you get when you're running a B-movie that are at some sort of lower budget that you can afford. Our lead actress is Mara Corday, who apparently was a Playboy playmate at some point.
Oh, interesting.
Judging based on the Wikipedia picture, yeah, checks out. She was in Tarantula. I don't know what she was doing in Tarantula. Surely she wasn't the main lead of that, right?
I can only think of one female character from that movie.
No, she must have been, because there wasn't any other. Because she's credited as Stephanie Clayton. I think that was because she was called Steph.
Yeah.
Or Steve. No, she was called Steve, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, she was.
That's awesome, by the way. I still love that the woman's called Steve. That's cool. Yeah, no, okay, so she's actually the lead from Tarantula. Cool. I don't know if any of these other guys are anything at all. I'm not seeing anything of interest. Maybe somebody else would see something of interest in here, but oh my god, this guy's Wikipedia page has a picture from 1930. I can't imagine this guy did too many more films. Oh, well, he kept going until 1975. Okay, fuck me then. But still nothing of interest to us. And all that principal cast does pretty good, I think. They're all pretty charming and charismatic, and they're really good at delivering this dialogue in a believable but like engaging way.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty good at selling it and also making it like the movie in some ways reminds me of King Kong, where that dialogue is so much more like, it feels like elevated is a bad like adjective here, because what does that mean? But like that's what it is, right? It's just like it's better. It's just better. It's hard to describe. I've already used several other adjectives. You know, it's witty, it's fun, it's engaging. It's just all around like of a higher quality than a lot of these other B movies we've been watching.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's like Godzilla though either, because Godzilla's got great dialogue, but Godzilla's dialogue is very emotion laden rather than quippy. I think this movie wants you to laugh a lot more than Godzilla does. Godzilla is as serious as a heart attack, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I would go so far as to say this one's like a comedy, but like it's got some of those undertones.
It wants you to have fun more so than anything else. Godzilla has like a serious like message to it. This film wants you to have fun about the giant bird monster that shoots antimatter particles.
Which, you know, in a way is kind of fitting to the themes that we had already discussed last night, where like this movie doesn't really seem to have a central theme. Its main point is just to be a fun movie to watch.
Yeah. It's a little unfortunate, because I do like my movies. I think you can have a fun, jaunty film and still have a bit of a message to it. I've heard that's what the new Superman movie is like. Not that I've seen it yet. But I also like, I get it, you know? I do want to say though, like with that, once again, like the deadly mantis, we have that array of radar designed to stop the Soviets. They mention it being like sensitive enough to catch a messenger pigeon, which I think is supposed to be like cluing you in that if something isn't caught by that, it's kind of crazy because the bird isn't caught by that, even though it's as big as a battleship. But it is also very strange to like bring that up and not have this be like a Cold War kind of deal. I feel like.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's probably a little bit of a Red Scare film. You have this antimatter creature, which is completely incompatible with American life. You know, that's destroying things up in the Canada America area. Destroys the Empire State Building, a major symbol of American prosperity.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit less of a clear cut Soviet stand-in than the giant mantis was. But I think just a lot of that same mentality is just floating around in the air.
Yeah, this is one where I definitely feel bad bringing up this Red Scare thing because it really isn't thick. If you're not looking for it, it isn't there. Basically. So if you're wanting to watch this film, do watch it. It's a good film. It's fun. You won't be thinking about the Red Scare too much.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I think it might have been an unintentional thing, sort of like a subconscious thing by the writers and director and whatnot, because like
Americans can't get the Soviet Union out of their little skulls at this point in time.
Yeah, like I mean, like America has for such a long time, even now, just kind of had this rivalry with Russia, and back then it was kind of fairly brand new, and so like it was like every news slash propaganda agency was covering it, and like you couldn't read the newspaper without thinking about the Soviet Union. So like even if they weren't intentionally writing about the Soviet Union, it's that influence is still there.
But very, very light. And like Haru was saying earlier, there's really no themes here otherwise. Like I literally can't pick anything out.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
I don't know
we could talk about influences, right? Like this film is influenced by three things. Thanks to Turner Classic Movies and the cult classic status of this film, we have some understanding of the inspiration behind it. And it's inspired by recent discoveries in antimatter, which obviously that's where the antimatter thing comes. We talk a lot about the way like recent scientific discoveries influence kaiju films and sci-fi films, and there you have it right there. Like that's a direct thing right there. Rodan, which we've seen already on this podcast, and a publication of a short story about La Carcane, a French-Canadian bird of folklore, or bird-like banshee of folklore, which is referenced heavily in the film itself. And I think it's interesting that like this is a very Rodan-like film, but they missed one critical piece of the Rodan puzzle, which is where does Rodan come? Like Rodan comes from the Earth. Rodan is a climate change narrative.
Yeah.
Of the Earth, like we're getting back at humanity, right? Like, or humanity digging too deep and suffering the consequences. Whereas nothing caused the bird to come here in the giant claw.
Yeah, it just kind of like floated here from another galaxy.
An antimatter galaxy somewhere.
Yeah.
And so it's we kind of have this like, I think I think we talked about this with 20 Million Miles to Earth as well. We have this situation where it's just like, oh, here's a cool what if. What if some
Yeah.
being from an antimatter dimension came here? Oh, okay. What if, I guess? What if the world was made of pudding?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, this one, we didn't do anything to start being attacked by this giant beast. It just kind of like appeared one day.
Yeah, like
Like one day it wasn't here and the next day it
there's
was.
nothing going on that's like, oh, we shouldn't have made this radar system in the north, and that's what caused the beast to come out. I think that there's a fundamental difference between a lot of kaiju films in America versus kaiju films in Japan, right? We
Yeah.
haven't seen too many Japanese ones yet, but oftentimes a Japanese kaiju film is like, oh, we did something and something is coming after us because we did something.
Mhm.
Whereas a lot of American ones are like, something happened, like something just came here.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's like, oh, there was like some nuclear testing around, but we got to do nuclear testing, so
Mhm. Yeah,
what are you gonna
wasn't
do?
there was it an opening line in The Giant Mantis or something like
Deadly
saying,
Mantis,
yeah, the Deadly Mantis about like to every action there's an equal
equal
opposite
opposite reaction.
reaction.
Yeah,
And like in the case of the Deadly Mantis, it
there wasn't
literally
what?
like
It was a volcano.
there was a volcano that humans had nothing to do with, and then a mantis melted out of the ice and started killing people. And here we've got like there isn't a message of like, oh, we shouldn't have strayed too far north because we disturbed this thing's territory. It's just like, no, it was always here. And
And then as soon as it got here, it started traveling in a spiral for some reason.
yeah.
Which, by
Yeah,
the way, that
there's no
spiral, what?
message.
What? Why? And
Yeah, I
how did the
don't
guy figure
understand
it
the
out?
spiral. Yeah, because there's 4 points on the map that he marked, and, like so, like, he's on the plane, right? And he, like he's sitting with the lady, and he's figuring out, like, he has this epiphany of, like, "Oh, I finally figured out this thing's flight pattern." It's so far only attacked, like, 4 places,
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of vaguely in a somewhat straight squiggly line. It like if you want to actually connect the dots, like okay, the order of events isn't a straight line. It's kind of like a fish hook, if anything. But like this guy's just like, oh, that's a spiral.
Yeah. It's real Uzumaki shit. He's seeing spirals where none exist. Okay, we probably should talk about the bird. It's
Yeah.
probably about time to talk about the bird. This is probably like the thing that people know about this movie is the bird marionette. And I am here I'm here to fight the war on the giant claw, on the side of the giant claw. I think it's a great puppet. I fuck the haters. It's a good puppet.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's not realistic, but it looks cool. It looks scary, and it's got a little bit of a funny it has a little bit of funny moments when it looks right at the camera. It's great.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. It's fun. It's got so much articulation. Its nostrils can go like it goes sniffa sniffa. Let me at them tutters. It can open and close its mouth. The one thing I don't like about it are the teeth. The teeth are a little weird, but it makes him look more alien, I guess. The eyes are articulated. The eyes move around, and hey, Godzilla wouldn't have moving eyes for another couple of movies. So,
Yeah.
the feet are articulated. The wings are able to flap. the feet are able to actually open and close, so they can like do scenes where it's picking up shit off the ground, and those scenes are all fun. Those are all great scenes, and they're obviously picking up like toy trains and toy cars, but like still, who cares? It's great. They make a modeled Empire State Building and UN building for it to land on and attack, and they're really good models. They're like basically as good as anything you see in the Godzilla films. It's just there's not as many of them.
Yeah.
They like have like a Empire State Building and they a UN building. They don't have a full ass city for the thing to destroy. It's great.
Yeah, I kind of like the giant bird too. It's ugly. Like during the movie, the people refer to it as like a big bird at a couple times, and like that kind of made me think of Big Bird from Sesame Street, and it kind of is just like if Big Bird got a little too much into the meth.
It's a vulture. It's very vulture coded.
Yeah.
Like I saw one critical review calling it beaky buzzard, and it's like, you do understand that vultures just look like that, right?
Yeah.
Vultures look funny. They look crazy. They're insane.
Yeah, they are kind of fucked up.
Fucking city folks have never seen a goddamn vulture in their life. That's what it is.
And okay, like bringing up that it is basically just a vulture, I just have to point out, like, this movie makes a big deal out of this thing being an alien. Like, it does not exist in this world. It's something else entirely from a different galaxy. But it literally is just like a big version of a bird we already have here.
Yeah. I do love though that because of that, the movie is actually thinking about that. And so when the antimatter physicist guy is talking about the feather, he's like, well, it's not really a feather, but it might as well be a feather. It's like the feather is the closest word we have for it, because this thing is not from our world, but like it works like a feather, it looks like a feather, it might as well be a feather to us.
Yeah.
But also if you stick this feather into our electron microscopes, it destroys them.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the thing that is kind of like it's a double-edged sword in biology. Is that like, to the common viewer, this creature looks like a bird and it talks like a bird and it flies like a bird, so it must be a bird. But like an actual biologist would be like, okay, but like it can't even fit in the same genus as a lot of other birds, because like it can't even really fit necessarily in the animal kingdom, because we don't have like an origin point for this thing that it could branch off of.
Like you
So
can
like
you can look at crabs as a good example. There's all sorts of different crabs that are not of the same like crab species. They're like fake crabs.
yeah.
But like we call them crabs because they look like crabs.
Yeah. So like that's kind of what this movie does. It's like, well, technically it's not a bird, but it kind of is a bird because we don't really have a better word for it. But like it's technically not.
Like as an astrobiologist, obviously nothing from outer space would ever look like anything that comes from our planet unless it came from a planet that looked exactly like ours, and even then it probably is so unlikely that it would look like anything from our planet as to be, or like you wouldn't even think of it. Astrobiologists are looking for alien life that is so totally foreign to our idea of life that we might have not even recognized it as life. That being said, when you're making a sci-fi movie, you have to create something that looks like something.
Yeah.
Like it sounds stupid, but like it has to look like something, and you draw from what you know.
Yeah, like it's like try and imagine a color that you've never seen before. Like that's the kind of complexity of trying to imagine a weird creature that we've never, that like not even that we haven't even encountered before, but that doesn't even have the same origins as us, like on this planet.
Or
Like
it doesn't
how
even
do you
exist in an antimatter universe.
Yeah, like how do you even
Or
conceive of something like that? And
galaxy.
so
It's weird. I
yeah.
can't get into the fact that an antimatter galaxy cannot exist inside our universe because our universe is matter. It
Yeah.
Antimatter cannot exist in our matter universe except for so long, like in weird, maybe not even real short bursts where it spontaneously generates alongside a piece of equal opposite matter. It's very complicated and very theoretical, and antimatter is really complicated.
Yeah. I mean, like, this movie is almost, like, 70 years old now, and, like, we still don't know much more about antimatter than we knew back then.
It's a little hard to study something that only exists for seconds at a time, maybe.
Yeah. But, yeah, so, like, yeah, just back to what I was saying, like, you can't really draw a picture of something that you can't even physically imagine, so you kinda have to just draw off of what you already know exists, like
And sometimes you just
giant
want to make a giant
giant
bird.
birds. Yeah.
And if you take a giant bird, and you take, like I said, you go to Mexico, like you try and get Ray Harryhausen, but Ray Harryhausen isn't answering. And so you go to Mexico City and you say, "Hey, can you make me a giant alien bird prop?" They're probably going to end up giving you a fucking vulture marionette.
Yeah.
Like you got what you asked for. It's a giant alien bird. I don't know. It can look a little silly sometimes when it's looking in the camera, but I think that's cool and fun. Who gives a fuck? Godzilla puppet looks a little silly sometimes. The giant insects we've been watching getting superimposed on normal scenery looks silly sometimes. It always looks silly sometimes. It's a fucking movie.
Yeah, there's really no way to, like, seamlessly blend in these fictional kaiju into real life because they're not fucking real.
Are you a fucking baby? Can you not, like, comprehend that the movie in front of you isn't real? When you see the boom mic, do you suddenly realize, oh my god, it's a TV show? Wow! Oh no, my immersion's ruined.
Oh my god. These are the kinds of people that are going to complain when their video game has a heads-up display.
Oh my god. There's a health bar instead of random blood on the screen. How am I going to be immersed in this video game experience?
Oh no, yellow paint.
Yellow paint! Fuck! I think we need to dispense with realism being the only way to experience art.
Yeah.
I think we need to kill realists. Realism delenda est.
I mean, like, I don't know about a lot of you, but, like, I tend to consume media because it's not real life. Like, if I wanted to do something in real life, I'd go do something in real life. I wanna watch a movie, I'm gonna sit down and watch a movie. I know that's not real life. I can suspend my disbelief.
Yeah. They like reading a book and they're like, "Oh, I can't imagine this. Bad book. I need someone to show me exactly what this looks like in real life. Thank you." God, annoying. Annoying. I hate American film critics. I hate them so much. Why are they so bad, dude? Why are they so bad? Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, go watch this movie. It's a good movie.
Okay. Like, I'm looking at the fucking reception page of part of Wikipedia here. Like, I'm seeing the claw is not just badly rendered, it's hilariously rendered. It's not badly rendered. It's a good fucking marionette. I'd like to see you make that marionette, asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is a lot of people tend to criticize things that they literally could not do better.
Literally. What else do you want to, like, how would you portray the fucking bird, right? Rodan like had some pretty naff looking special effects in it sometimes. Birds are hard to portray in film
Mhm.
in this era. What do you want?
Yeah.
Like I've seen like what was it, The Legend of Q or something like that, a movie about Quetzalcoatl murdering people, and that looks terrible. Birds look terrible in film right now. You have to get over it. Like, are you gonna put a real bird on the sound set and have it like fake attacking planes? That's gonna look worse.
Yeah, I mean, we already had where King Dinosaur
Yeah,
where they just
the
literally
giant
took this like
lizards, the lizards they're no, right, normal
yeah,
sized lizards that they're pretending are giant.
yeah, like that's what happens when you try and be as realistic as possible. It gets worse.
To be sure, Sam Catchwood opted for the cheapest, worst looking monster that one could imagine. I've seen King Dinosaur. That's not true in the slightest. It is like that's the thing. You can say it looks goofy. I think it looks goofy. That's fine.
Mhm. Yeah.
If you say it's badly made, I want you hung, hanged. Cause that's so annoying, so fucking annoying. Cause like in many places of the world, puppet theater is alive and well. And a marionette like this seems like the exact kind of thing that would be in like a puppet theater.
Yeah.
If you go to Mexico City, a place known for fucking having puppet theaters, or at least at that time period, you're gonna have a fucking puppet theater creature. And it's not poorly made. Look at how articulated it is. You know how hard that is? Its fucking nostrils flare. Ah, I hate it. I hate it, Haru. It's a good movie. It's a good monster. It's a good movie. Watch it.
Mhm.
Fuck.
Um While we're still talking about like effects and stuff, I just want to draw attention to like my two favorite effects moments in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Number one being what we've already mentioned, the Empire State Building attack. That was just really cool, and the Empire State Building crumpled like clay.
It's great. And when I say
And then
and by that, it's not stop motion. Don't worry. It doesn't look like when the cars get crumpled in the stop motion movie. It looks like ass. No, this looks great.
yeah. Yeah, no, this is like buttery smooth, like
Like it looks like a building being destroyed, like in a Godzilla film.
yeah.
It looks like a miniature building being destroyed.
Um, so that's my first favorite, and then my other favorite effect in the movie was so there was a car with a group of like teenager kids driving around being kind of jackasses, but in a silly way.
I love delinquent
And
kids. They're such a silly part of films of this era,
yeah,
and not just this era. We'll see some more in later eras too, which is awesome.
and then our giant bird just flies behind them, and like that scene where it's like where it's flying to go pick them up. I mean, the scene where it picks them up is also cool, but like my favorite part of that was where we saw like the perspective play of them in the foreground and the giant bird in the background. And that was like the moment when I realized just how big this thing is.
It's a proper kaiju size. It's really good.
Yeah. But like that effect too was like just it's the very classical traditional just people using props in the foreground while they're projecting something in the background, and it's cool. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Um and by the way, that thing I mentioned briefly about Ray Harryhausen, they did actually want to have Ray Harryhausen do effects for this film. I literally think that would have been worse. Like, sorry, I think it would have been a worse film. I think Ray Harryhausen's effects are great, but I think stop motion animation is too sluggish to present a bird really well, at least as a major focus of a film.
Mm-hmm.
I think the puppet gives a sense of frenetic energy to the scenes that it's in because they're able to just kind of swing it around.
Yeah.
It's good. Don't touch it, Ray Harryhausen. I got my eye on you. So I guess let's talk a little bit about some of that dialogue. Get a little bit more into it because I've got some written down.
Hell yeah.
In the beginning, we have a lot of sniping back and forth. We have a lot of sniping back and forth throughout the whole movie with the main character and the army, like the general and the lieutenant general, which I think is actually really interesting. You don't see that a lot. Oftentimes, our protagonist just like goes along with the military perfectly, and they worked in perfect sync, and they become this collective protagonist. In this film, they do a lot to prevent that from happening by having them kind of argue with each other, and they're not always in accord.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes they're not really properly understanding each other either. Like, there's a really great moment towards the end where, not towards the end, it's right after the scene where the pilots get destroyed by the bird. And by the way, the acting in that scene is not great from our extras. The pilots are really bored. It's like the rest of the film is like so animated and like engaging, and in that scene, one of the most tense scenes in the movie, because our main characters are like in a room together listening to the pilots fight the bird, and then suddenly realizing that, oh no, they can't kill that bird at all, they can't touch it, and then listening to them being eaten one by one. Like that's so tense. That's such good way to draw horror. We, the audience, get to see it happen, so we get to see the destruction and everything. But our protagonists can't see it. They just have to sit there and listen to it. Oh, so good. But then our pilots are going like, oh no, they're after me.
Yeah.
They got Tom. No.
Yeah.
Rough stuff. Unfortunate. But immediately after that, our protagonist is like, what are we gonna do? And the lieutenant general and the general are like, well, hold, come on, what do you want from us? Like, we don't know what to do. And so he has to be like, no, I'm not criticizing you. I'm not criticizing you or the lieutenant general or any of those men who just like lost their lives to this monster. I'm just scared. What are we going to do? He actually like sits. He like they're clearly like talking past each other, and he like has to be like, hold up. Here's what I actually mean. Like, I want to be emotionally vulnerable to you for a second, and be like, I'm just scared, dude. And that's like just something you don't see in the 50s movie, really. I feel like.
Yeah.
Especially not in America. It's a little too fruity.
Having emotions? The only emotions you're allowed to have are anger and guns.
But a lot of the sniping takes place at the beginning of the film, where our protagonist has seen the giant claw, but hasn't really seen a good picture of it. He just thinks it's a giant flying battleship or some shit. But then it takes down another plane, and so they call him up, and they're like, you imagined it. It took down another plane, and you imagined it, and it took down another plane, and then it took down his plane on his way home with the girl. So it's taken down a total of 3 planes now. And the lieutenant general calls and be like, and it's your fault. You're stupid. You seeing that battleship made 2 more planes go down. I guess it didn't take down 3 planes. He saw it, and then it took down 2 planes because it didn't take down his plane. But yeah, for some reason the general's blaming it on him. And so he says, "What kind of an infantile jackass do you think I am?"
Yeah.
I didn't know you could say jackass in a 1950s movie. That's awesome. And then the woman immediately gives him some alcohol to calm him down. This is also when we get the another sighting of the bird from our friend Pierre in French Canadien. Mr. Pierre sees the bird outside, and that's where he references it as La Cacane, which is a banshee of French Canadian folklore, as we mentioned earlier. Traditionally, it it's like a giant woman with a wolf's head and bat-like black wings, and then is a harbinger of death. They only really mention the last part there, the harbinger of death part, and the fact that it's like a witch, but they call it a witch instead of a banshee. But I think that addition there really helps elevate the mystery of the creature, because up until that point, they're kind of playing on UFO lore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like trite and overdone and whatever. And at this point, you're kind of like, okay, well, we've seen it like 3 times now, so we know it's real and it's doing something. But then he's like, it's La Cacane. And then you're like, oh, is it La Cacane? La Cacane? Like, is it a mythical creature or is it a UFO?
Yeah.
I think that's interesting.
I really like that addition. It's a fairly common trope in a lot of the kaiju films we've seen so far, where like the kaiju already exists in local folklore for like in one way or another. I mean, even in the original Godzilla, like he was named after a local like myth.
Mm-hmm.
And like I just think that's a neat I think that's a neat thing that a lot of kaiju movies do. It's just kind of like a tradition to have the kaiju be related to local folklore. I cannot talk right now.
Yeah, it's really I think it's more common in the Japanese kaiju film.
Mm-hmm.
The American kaiju film loves to play on like, oh, this is some like native folklore of this place that we're at, quite frequently. Whereas the Japanese one will be like, oh, this is part of our local folklore. And they will also do this is a part of the local folklore of this place that we're at. But they'll also just be like, oh, this is part of our local folklore here. They kind of play it both ways because Japan has a lot of like local folklore that you would like. Contrary to a lot of people's ideas, I had to explain this over the holidays to like a relative, which was really strange. Compared to like contrary to a lot of people believe, Japanese religion is not Shinto. Like Shinto is an attempt to solidify a bunch of local traditions into one faith that could be used as a tent pole of fascism in Japan. Shinto is not a real religion. It's an amalgamation of several different religions that are mostly like not even just like city, but like your little community.
Yeah.
And granted, a lot of those are very similar because that's the way religions work. The more closely you are, the more close that your religions are going to be to each other. You're going to be drawing on each other's influences a lot, and that's just going to spread naturally. Just look at the Levant. Not going to get spicy about one of the major religions of the world, but you know. So because of that, a lot of Japanese kaiju movies are able to be like, oh, this is some like local folklore in this one region of Japan. Instead of being like, we went to Mexico and this is the local religion of this Mexican area. Or we went to this French Canada and it's local religion here, local tradition here, that kind of thing. America has to go elsewhere to find it, even though there's plenty of weird like belief systems here. I'm now imagining a kaiju film set in the South where it's like they have the holy rollers are it's like some sort of snake kaiju, I guess.
Mhm.
They're like, but with the Holy Ghost power, you can overcome the snake's venom. So but like it means something completely different that you have to use to stop the snake creature.
Yeah, it's something that the American kaiju films tend to play a lot more when they do the whole local folklore bit is like it tends to lean towards general like racism of like, oh, these locals are so superstitious about everything, like
Oh, and don't
y-
worry, the Japanese ones are going to get racist too, just so you're aware.
yeah.
Because Japan is also a pretty racist place sometimes.
Yeah, no, we've already seen a racist Japanese movie.
Racist against a class of people instead of like even an ethnicity.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like that's just kind of the vibe I get where like, comparing to Godzilla where literally just like the local folklore was just like this is the island where they first discovered him and so it makes sense to name him after the local legends. In like so far like at least two of the kaiju movies I can remember. This one and I forget the name of the Western one.
Beast of Hollow Mountain.
Yeah, Beast of Hollow Mountain. They both kind of have this like there is a local folklore that has parallels to the kaiju that we're seeing in the movie, and there seems to be either direct or underlying tones of prejudice in assuming that the people that actually believe that this thing is actually based on folklore are clearly just superstitious and don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, another example of this would be that Amoeba movie that was also in Mexico.
Yeah.
And that one was even more directly racist about it. Well, even the Japanese ones have like this like air of kind of like, well, it's just some superstitious folks on this remote village, you know.
Mhm.
We're kind of like we don't believe like it's actually like a folklore creature. Although, at some point in the nearish future, we do have a kaiju film that is a full on like legend. The Three
Ooh.
Treasures in 1959. That's just like that's just gonna have like literal Orochi in
Hmm.
it. So so we are actually gonna see like some actual like fantastically based kaiju film in the near future.
Mhm.
It is funny though, like that kind of thing like when we were talking about the three influences of this film, that's kind of like the three influences of every kaiju film, right? It's recent science discoveries, other kaiju films, and local myth. And this
Yeah.
film kind of ties all three together in one. And like I think a lot of them do.
Mhm.
Like Godzilla is Godzilla is a not a mythological being, but it is in the fiction of the universe that it's in a mythological being. They bring in that element to it. And when they brought it to America, they called it Godzilla. Like they added that god aspect to it.
Yeah.
And they'll carry that like that carries on not just through the American versions of the film, but also through the Japanese versions of the film. Shin Godzilla, like in Shin Godzilla, they call Godzilla a god of destruction. That's actually in the fiction of that film. That's what Gojira means, is god of destruction, or
Hmm.
Something that equivalent, or no, God incarnate is what it means in that film. God incarnate,
Ah.
which I'll have a lot of thoughts on actually, but we'll get to that in my Godzilla versus Evangelion video, which will hopefully be dropping sometime in the near future. But yeah, I think this is because we have a little bit more behind the scenes information from this film, we can actually like really synthesize some of the three primary categories of influences that a lot of kaiju films have, which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
But we have more quotes.
Let's hear it.
After that, we've talked about the scene on the airplane where the main character McAfee and the girl are kissing it up, and they flirt, then they fight, and they fight, and they're getting loud, and the people behind them are like in frame. There's like actual actors, like extras there, but they're like in frame. They're not just out of frame or anything. They're in frame, and I tell Haru, like, that guy in the back there wants them to shut the fuck up. And then he does exactly that. He tells them to shut the fuck up. Please be quiet. I'm trying to get some sleep. And so they get a little quieter. And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, we were having a fight. Anyways, kiss me and be quiet." He literally is like, he's like says something more poetic, and then he's like, "In other words, kiss me and be quiet." I'm like, ugh, gross. And then from literally that point on in the film, they might as well have been married couple.
Yep.
And it's a much better film for it. They also like, I don't have a direct quote for this one, but they make fun of Pierre a lot when he dies.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier how there were 3 scenes in this movie that made me the most uncomfortable, and 2 of them were sexist. This is the 3rd one, the non-sexist one, where it's just like
weird. It's just really strange.
Like, this guy who, like, sure, maybe you don't know him that well, but,
He
like,
saved your life in the French Canadian wilderness
yeah,
after you got out of a plane crash.
like, surely you have at least some remorse for him getting killed, but instead they're just like, "Ha, he was right."
He was right about Laka Khan. He did die. Well, I guess he won't be needing his car anymore. Let's chase after the bird. Or run away from the bird or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, like,
that's where the snappy, witty dialogue kind of goes against the film's favor, when it tries to be a little bit more serious there.
yeah.
Although it's got plenty of serious moments where the poetic language works. I think this is where like the narration comes in. I feel like the narrator does a much better job at not being witty, but instead being like serious poetic.
Mm-hmm.
Although there is a lot of narration. There's a lot of it.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of the narration, I did want to mention how, like, I personally just feel like one of my least favorite forms of narration is when they're narrating something that is literally happening on scene right now. Where, like, where, like, what's, like, why even narrate this to us? Why not just, like, show this to us like a normal movie? That said, I think this movie does at least a slightly better job at it because it's not narrating for no reason. Like, it's actually, like, it is a stylistic choice that the movie makes.
Mm-hmm.
Still maybe not my preferred way for them to start the movie, but
Yeah.
this is 1950s America. What else can we ask for?
We said last time, it's kind of bookish in quality, even though it's not based on a book as far as we can tell.
Mm-hmm.
But it has that kind of poetic language a book might have, that prose. It's got a lot of good prose in it. and that's what
Yeah.
makes the narration work more so than it hurts. But they probably are overdoing it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, the stock footage is limited as well, which helps with that. A lot of the narration is over new original footage instead of just random stock footage that they're shoving in,
Yeah.
which I think is a big boon.
Mm-hmm. There's also another scene where they do like narration over what is actively happening in the movie. But I think that scene works a lot better. The scene in question is when like our lead guy finally realizes that like he has an actual idea of what they can do to kill this giant bird to get past this like antimatter energy field. And we kind of have a little bit of a montage where he tries and fails several times, and the narrator is just like, failure after failure after failure. And I think that actually kind of works better than the alternative, which would have been just like the guy himself saying, "Oops, I failed again." Like,
Yeah, like I think a lot of people see show don't tell as like a be all end all statement, but it's a lot more nuanced than that. Like most pieces of creative advice, you can it's a general guideline, right? It's generally better to show instead of tell, but sometimes telling is better,
mm-hmm.
especially when you do a little montage over it.
Yeah.
I got one more quote in here, and it's one of my favorites actually. When they're like before Pierre dies, the reason why Pierre dies is because the main character and the girl are shooting. They're like taking pot shots at the egg of the creature. The giant claw is here. It's nesting, and they finally see the egg, and they're like, "Okay, let's just go shoot it now while the bird is here." Like they're so stupid. And so they just take out some high-powered rifles and shoot it. Pierre runs away, and that's why he ends up getting eaten instead of having trees tossed on him. But you might be wondering, oh, the girl shoots it? That's kind of awesome for a 50s film. Well, the guy thinks so too, because he kind of goes, huh? Like it looks at her like, and she says, I'm from Montana. And as someone who lived in Montana for 4 years, yeah, that's about right.
Also, the delivery of that line was just
It's so good.
it was kind of the peak of the tone of this movie's dialogue.
Because he doesn't have a retort. He just kind of goes, okay, yeah, you're from Montana.
Yeah.
And then they fucking shoot that egg to shit. Holy moly. They murderize it.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good movie. Definitely watch it.
Mm-hmm. I think one last thing I'd just like to kind of go back to and touch on before we start wrapping things up is so there was like the whole thing with the antimatter energy field.
Mm-hmm.
Uh that kind of fixes what is sometimes for me one of my biggest problems with kaiju movies is there tends to be some kind of like bullshit reason they can't just kill it outright. Like, like a lot of times like there's a dinosaur and they use like all the guns that the military has and it doesn't die.
Yeah.
Why? Because its armor is thick. Like, no, I do not buy that our army could not pierce through a dinosaur's like skin. Um
And neither does
and
this
like that,
movie.
yeah,
Because this movie's like,
this
wait, what the fuck? Why don't our missiles and bombs and shit hurt this thing?
yeah, like this movie actually just like the way it actually thinks about like what are the origins of this creature because it's not an actual bird because it's not from our universe, not from our galaxy. They also put in that extra effort of thinking like, why can't we kill this thing? Well, it's because it's not of our galaxy. It's got antimatter.
Yeah. The antimatter literally just makes anything that collides with it blow up before it hits the bird. Like, makes it cease to exist before it hits the bird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that was the last thought I have about the movie.
Yeah, I think we're probably good to sign off here. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, why don't you share this podcast around? Tell them to find us wherever podcasts are found, or at thempodian on YouTube, the official YouTube home of The Kaiju is in the Details. Of course, you can also, support the channel in other ways, like by giving me and Haru money or something like that, or by following us on our various social medias. Speaking of Haru, where can people find you?
I am Haru Hayes. I'm a puppy girl VTuber who streams occasionally on Twitch, twitch.tv/Haru Hayes. I'm also on Blue Sky, haru.vspire.live. And I also have a Discord. Those are kind of like the three main places people can find me.
And I am Thempire Iain. You can find me on YouTube at Thempire Iain, where I post Yu-Gi-Oh! And video essays and stuff like that. Two with Empire Iain, where I do Let's Plays and VODs. And then, of course, Thempodian, where this podcast resides. And Yuri Riot, where I do music. You can follow me on Blue Sky and Twitch at Thempire Iain. Simple as. There you go. Haru, are you ready to say goodbye for the second time to the Giant Claw?
Yeah.
Sayonara, Giant Claw.
Sayonara, Giant Claw.
Maybe save this one for Thanksgiving.